All right, welcome my little kittens and students. So I'm going to talk about, in this next video, we're going to continue to talk about linear inequalities and talk about how to graph them, okay? My first problem, I'm looking at problem number 1. It says x is greater than or equal to, since we have this negative, this number line underneath the greater than symbol, we know that it can equal, so my line is going to be solid. -4. This is going to be a vertical line. If we remember and we think back to Hoivux, let me erase this so I can write over here and use this right side to talk about number 1 and just give you a short reminder of our history of Hoivux. Hoivux. Okay, that's horizontal. This is a 0 slope and y-axis, so that means it's going to be horizontal, or we can say y is equal to, or in this case y is greater than, or I can say y is less than, or I can say equal to, or greater than or equal to. Vux is vertical line, undefined slope, and we're talking about the y-axis, just like we talked about the way to write the horizontal line as being y equals or y greater than or equal to or y less than. So we're talking about an inequation or an inequality. Since this x is greater than or equal to, that is going to be a vertical line at -4. This is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. I'm going to label my axes. So I'm going to go -1, -2, -3, -4. And I'm going to draw my solid line. Now I want to talk about which side to shade. Okay, so let's erase all this again so that we have room to write on, and you can see what I'm talking about. Okie dokie. So I know that I'm going to check the point because I have the coordinate point 0, 0. And I want to see if I should shade that or not shade that to see if this is true for inequality. We don't know if that's true. So I'm going to plug it in. I have a x value of 0. I don't have a y or need a y value in my equation, but I can still use that point. Because remember, any point along this vertical line, there is a point of the y-axis. So if I talk about that point there, that point is at -4, 1. Okay? So I'm going to talk about and use the x value of being 0 greater than or equal to -4. Is this true? Yes, this is true. Yes, this is true. So that means that that is a solution. So since I know it's a solution, I need to shade that side of my graph. I need to shade that point 0, 0. Okay? Not so bad, right? Pretty straightforward and simple. All right, now let's look at number 2. Let's try number 2. Now number 2, it's y is less than, so that means it's going to be a horizontal line. And it's +2, so I'm going to go to here to 2. Now look, we have no dash mark underneath our inequality symbol, so that means that our line is going to be dashed, okay, in terms of drawing it. It will not be a solid line. Like this one here, this is a solid line, okay? This one here, I have drawn a dash line. Now I want to see if the point 0, 0 is true. So I don't have an x value in my inequality. I have a y value. So I'm going to plug that in. My y value is 0. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, this is true. So then that means, again, this is the side that needs to be shaded. All right, now, number 3, we're going to have to do a little bit more work. And the only reason that we have to do a little bit more work is because we don't have it in slope-intercept form. In order for us to graph, it has to be in slope-intercept form. Our slope-intercept form is that we have y is equal to mx plus b. Now, I know that this is an inequality, but I can still take an inequality and put it in slope-intercept form. That means that I need my y by itself, okay? I'm going to go ahead and erase this over here so that you can see. I'm going to work on the left side. in terms of my equation. All right, now, I know it's magic. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. I have 3x minus y is greater than or equal to 6. I want to isolate y. All right, so now I'm going to subtract 3x because this term here, 3x, is in the way of getting negative y by itself. And I'm going to subtract it from both sides of our inequality because what we do, just like an equation, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So then I'm left with negative y is greater than or equal to negative 3x plus 6. Now, I need to get y by itself. And the way of getting y by itself is this little pesky negative symbol. I'm going to either multiply or divide. Whoops. That is too big of a pencil. I'm going to multiply or divide by a negative 1. I'm going to divide each term in our inequality by negative 1 or multiply each term by negative 1. When I multiply or divide, I have to switch my inequality symbol only when it's with a negative value. So now it becomes y is less than or equal to positive 3x minus 6. Okay, this is our inequality equation now. I'm now going to go to my graph and go to negative 6. That's my y. My b is negative 6. My slope is equal to 3 over 1. So my rise is 3. My run is 1. So I'm going to go down here to 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, and go right 1. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, right 1. If you can see it here, let me do a little small pen. So if you can see, I'm rising up along this area here. I'm rising up along here, and I'm running, okay? I'm going to rise up 3 and run 1. Okay? Again, I'm going to rise up 3 and then run 1. Now, I have that line underneath, so then that means that my line that I draw needs to be solid. Now the question is, do I shade above or below? Well, just like we did before, we're going to check that coordinate point 0, 0 because it's right there. It's obviously on one side of our graph, where graph is not our boundary line. Again, this is our boundary line. Boundary line. It doesn't go through our origin, so I can use the coordinate point 0, 0. So I'm going to do it through my equation. So 0 less than or equal to 3 times 0 minus 6. 0 less than or equal to 3 times 0 gives us 0, so negative 6. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 6? No. This is false. So that means that that side, that point 0, 0, should not be shaded. So that's going to tell me to shade this side of my graph. Not too bad, right? So far, so good. I will see you in the next video. I'm going to specifically talk about number 4 and number 6 in the next video. All right, see you then.